Hello, we're going to cover molarity. It's one of the concentration calculations, but it's in addition to the ones we went over yesterday. So yesterday we talked about how concentration measures the amount of a substance, specifically in our case our solute, per unit volume. Molarity is probably the most kind of common, most widely used concentration calculation that we use. This is how I make all of our solutions in our labs throughout the year, is through molarity. So molarity is the concentration of a substance, specifically in moles of a solute per liters of solution. So this formula is actually in your reference tables, which is that your molarity is going to be equal to moles of your solute per liters of solution. And today we're just going to focus on ones that go between like our moles, molarity, and liters. And then in our next lesson, we'll cover when grams are involved. So we'll continue on next week. So one little thing though with liters here is a lot of the times we're going to be going from milliliters to liters. In order to do that, we're always going to be dividing by 1,000. So you'll see that on a bunch of the practice. So for example, if I had something like 80 milliliters and I have to have it in liters, I would divide that by 1,000 in order to get 0.08 liters. Okay, so you're going to see us basically just using this formula in order to do a bunch of calculations. So I'm going to go through this practice problem that's in your note packet. We're going to skip the one below it because it involves grams. We'll come back to that. And then I'm going to show you the first two examples on the worksheet that I provided for you to try out some of these on your own. So for this first question, it says find the molarity of 100 milliliters of a solution that contains 0.25 moles of the dissolved solute. So from here, we're going to initially just take that 100 milliliters. I'm going to divide it by 1,000 so that I can get it into liters. So that gives me 0.1 liters. So that's my volume. And then I already have this in moles. So here I'm trying to find molarity. So I'm going to have molarity, which usually we just signify with a capital M, is going to be our moles of our solute per liters of solution. So our moles was 0.25 over our liters, which was 0.1. And then when you divide that, you get 2.5. And for molarity, you're always going to have a capital M. And molarity, sometimes you'll also see it written as moles per liter. So you could see it that way too. All right, if we jump over to the other worksheet, and this is right attached to Classroom. So I'm going to go through the first two, and then if you need more practice, you have the ones below. So this first one, same type of thing as the one we just did. We're looking for molarity. So we're given 125 milliliters of our solution. And then we also have 2.5 moles of our solute. So for this one, I'm going to use capital M to signify molarity. I'm going to have my 2.5 moles. And then I'm going to need to put liters in the denominator. So I'm going to have to divide that 125 by 1,000. And then I will get these 0.125 liters. Okay, so from there, I'm going to fill in that down here. Okay, and then when I divide those two, 2.5 divided by 0.125, I get 20, and then I was looking for molarity, so I'd have a capital M, or moles per liter. All right, in this next one, we're actually finding one of the other variables. So in this question, I'm given a 4.0 molar solution, again, capital M, specifically is always going to be for molarity, which is our concentration. And this is asking for how many moles will be needed if 12 liters of a solution are required. So in this case, again, I'm going to be using M is moles of our solute per liters of solution. So if I go and fill that in, I'm given the 4.0 for my molarity. I'm looking for my moles, and then I'm already given the volume in liters. So then from here, it's just solving for x, just like you would in math class. Most of you guys seem to do this by cross multiplying. So you would have x is equal to 4.0 times 12.0 is going to give you 48, and we were looking for moles. So that will be my unit. The only part that I think some of you guys might get tripped up on is when you're actually solving for liters and just in terms of the math. So just be careful, make sure you're dividing, cross multiplying and dividing correctly, and just make sure you check your answers. All right, you guys are all set.